We gardeners can be a strange lot. Instead of going on vacation to relax, we fly across an ocean to stand in front of somebody else's plants, and not just any plants, plants that we've probably already seen in 6 books and on 5 YouTube videos. And then we come home with photos of scenes that we can't really identify and inspiration that we can't quite remember. We're talking about garden travel, how to prepare, how much homework to do, and how to make sure that you actually experience the garden instead of seeing it later for the first time on your phone. Garden travel today on the Garden Mixer.
She's Leslie Harris. I'm Marianne Wilburn, and you are listening to the Garden Mixer. We are going bon voyage soon together, and we thought that we would take this opportunity to talk about not only our trip and make you all feel jealous, but really, how should you garden travel when that is the reason for your adventure? And because there's a lot of different ways to do it.
Yeah, and there are ways to do it better and worse depending on your personality, but it's something that can be discussed, and guess what? We're gonna do it. But first, a cocktail.
Yes. And this one is straight from our Cocktails Illustrated book. This is the French 75 because Leslie and I are going to Normandy in about 4 weeks' time.
Nous allons.
Nous allons.
Nous allons. Let's go, baby.
Mm-hmm. Let's go. So this is the French 75. I have a very distinct feeling. I haven't sipped it yet. That we're going to be completely schnockered by the end of this. There's a lot of alcohol in this.
Agreed.
One, folks. It's brandy. It's sparkling wine. It's lemon juice. It's simple syrup. And in honor of the fact that we are going to Normandy, I made that brandy apple brandy. So we've got some calvados in there.
Nice. And I, of course, butchered the recipe. Lime instead of lemon, bourbon instead of brandy. These are all options for me. And then I put in ice because I played golf today, and I swear I am so dehydrated. And I drank 2 of those hydrating drink things, and I'm like, this could be big trouble. So I put a lot of ice in there, and I have a seltzer. And I also have, more of this just in case.
I have some water here too. Oh, yes. I didn't bring the bottle up with me. I'm not as much of an alcoholic as you are, but I do
look at the name.
I'm so confused. You played golf today. How quelle surprise.
Wait, look at the name. Look at the name.
French Blue. Is that like Blue Nun? Have you hit the button? Oh my gosh, YouTubers, you got to see that. So I'd like to start with a quick story, somewhat relevant. That long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, when I was 18 years old, week out of high school, I went abroad to the UK, and I have dual citizenship. My father's from England, so I was going over there to work, to find my fortune. And I was going to see the world. I was going to travel. I was going to yada, yada, yada. But I had never flown in a plane before, so I was a little nervous. And I was sitting there. Yeah, we weren't buzzing around, We were. Remember, I lived in the country, very rural. And I'm sitting there next to this old woman. I thought she was probably 45. I imagine now, looking back, but she was very old in my mind. And she asked me what I was doing and where I was going. I told her. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Well, I am going on a tour of UK gardens. I've been wanting to see these gardens all my life, and we're going, and it's really exciting." And all I could think was, "Oh, you poor woman. How sad. It's so sad to get old. I'm going to have fun." I'm like, I'll probably be, in Greece in about 2 weeks. And and you're just walking around looking at gardens, wah, wah, wah. And here I am, not only completely immersed in horticulture, but have founded my own garden travel company, Horticultural, shameless plug. And I'm not settling, folks. I actually like to do this. I like to bring gardens to people and people to gardens. And so how weird is life, huh?
That's an amazing change. It is an amazing coincidence, and yet it isn't amazing to know that an 18-year-old would have been like, "Are you kidding?" I mean, I had 0 interest in gardening until I was 25, and that's still pretty young. You gardened as a child. I was made to weed as a child, but most children, this is not their thing. I just met on the golf course today, this really and he was a good golfer too. He's only 31 years old, and he's fallen in love with gardening. He's just I mean, he was talking plant names that I thought, "Oh, well, he's been in it a few years." He said, "Well, I started last October." I said, "You know a lot for starting last October." He said, I like to know things."
I
So,
like to know things.
yeah. He's
Rain Man.
quick
Okay.
study, quick study. Anyway, I think yes, it's a great coincidence that you ran into that lady, but no, it's not weird that you weren't interested in garden touring when you were 18.
I wasn't Hans Hansen. Let's put it that way. I wasn't doing this from 5 years old. I was being made to pick beans, very much like you.
Yeah,
And I liked gardens, but not like that. Not enough to devote a trip to them. But boy,
no.
you really can. So let's start out with a little clear up corner. Let's move away from travel and go back to last episode with Carol Reese. And what do we have to clear up from that episode?
Nous sommes parfaits, which is, I think, a parfait, but also perfect. Is that right? You're better at this language than I am.
Somewhat, yes. I think maybe you could get away with that. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know that we
We're a
are,
parfait,
but
that which means we have very few mistakes because 'cause we're a parfait. We were kind of stumbling over Solidago canadensis versus canadense, and we agreed that everybody would know what we're talking about, but the
right.
perfection of it is, canadensis, and that's all I could find.
Yeah, I do have a question for you, or j'ai une question pour toi.
Je suis prête.
Okay, we promise we're not going to do this. Oh, wow, you are quick. You're more fluent than I am already. Okay. And that was when I was listening to this and you were discussing how you were dealing with your euphorbia marginata, the snow in summer, or the whatever spurge, variegated spurge. I was not getting why it wasn't taking to your cutting of it, your Chelsea chopping of it. It sounded like it was taking fine. You cut it, it branched.
I didn't make
What
that
was
very clear.
lost in translation there?
Well, it's kind of a fun thing. It's sort of actually what you did and what Brent suggested with your 50 bulbs that you have, the, summer drummer. Just take a few of them
Yeah.
and do something differently. So I'm looking at this row of, Euphorbia marginata snow snow on the mountain, and I'm like, "Ah, that's not planted in enough sun. I'm gonna Chelsea chop some of it. I'm gonna pre-prune it." And then when I went back to take photographs close up, I could see the cuts of all the ones that I had done that to, and they were identical in height and structure to the ones that I did not do that to. So I thought that was just kind of interesting.
Oh, I see. So they branched, but they still gave you the same height.
Yeah, so I could see literally, I could see the cut, and then I could see the
Mhm.
ones that I didn't cut, and I remember I'd cut the higher ones and left the lower ones, and they looked the same except for that scar of the cut. Isn't that weird?
So so interesting. I've been looking at my garden, really examining where I did the chops this year and what it did to the blossom. And it is something to think about, listeners, is when you're deciding to do that chopping in the spring, that you will take away from the ultimate size of the blossoms that you get often. And some species, it's going to be more or less, less than others. They're not all the same. So, for instance, I grow ivory towers eupatorium, which is probably eutrochium now, and that's a pieweed. And I've got heads that are 6 inches across that I left. They were lower down on the plant. I just let those go. And I've got blooms that are more like 3 inches across. And I'm trying to decide which one I like better. And I think I actually like the bigger blooms better, but I don't like them enough to stake them. So I think we're
Ah.
going to be going with the other. And then
Mm.
a veronicastrum that I think it's called fascination. It's either fascination or adoration. And that's another one that last year I chopped. Didn't love the height of it. It didn't respond as well as I wanted. It still felt a little flat. This year I let it go. I staked it and I did not like what I ended up with at the end. It still was a little wild and woolly. And so I'm going to go between these two places. Like just going to chop it, but I'm going to chop it a little higher. and I'll probably put a steak in it. So yeah, just keep an eye on when you're doing this. Make sure, you do something, you've gotta look and see what happens after you do it. Otherwise, what does it matter?
Well, what does it matter? Exactly. But and the idea of doing some of it, but not all of it is a good one because gardening is all one big experiment. So that's it for clearing up because nous
We're
sommes parfaits.
so puffy,
Yeah,
puffy.
probably.
We
But we are going to divide this up. We are gonna talk about the trip that we are going on. Oh, by the way, French 75, I said to my husband, I said, "Jeff, we're doing the French 75." He goes, "Oh god, that's gonna be so strong." And I said, "Oh, I didn't know that you
Oh,
do
yeah.
do you know what's in it?" And he said, "Well, no, but it's named after an artillery." I'm like, "Oh, this is a
Oh, is
history
that
guy."
you know what? I read through the little thing on the front, and then it was more about the bars that it was done in and et cetera, and I love this is a great book, guys, and we'll link to it in the notes again. I give it to Leslie for Christmas. Maybe we'll give a copy away next Christmas. Who knows? We'll see.
That'd be fun. That's a beautiful book.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book and a lot of rich history about the cocktails, and that you should read instead of just drinking them.
And we should start talking about our topic before we get too far into our cocktails, because who knows what's gonna
Sure.
happen tonight.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about the trip that Marianne has arranged and that I am so lucky to go on. We are also gonna talk about garden travel in general, because there's an art to it, and, sometimes people worry, even I, who really don't care, I don't worry too much, but I'm like, "Oh, should I prepare or should I not?"
Let me worry.
Yeah, let me worry. And whether you should like engross yourself in all the facts before you walk into that garden, or whether you should just like experience that garden. So we're going to talk about that sort of thing. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about, oh, what do we have to do before we leave our gardens? And for me, that is tomorrow morning for 2 hours. What am I going to do? That's all I've got.
Right,
So let's,
time is a big part of that. How much time do you have to deal with your garden, and what time of year is it? Those
yeah.
2 things make a big difference.
So give us a rundown on the trip that we're taking.
We are going to Normandy, and Normandy is on the northern coast of France. It's, a incredibly rich garden area, both because there's such a incredible history there, and because it's got such a gorgeous climate. It's got that still shares that sort of, damp maritime climate and those ocean breezes. It's right there across the English Channel. And there are gardens that are beautiful estates, huge chateaus. There's small private gardens. We're going to be going down to Mont Saint Michel, which is the tidal island, which you went to St. Michael's with me on the Cornwall trip.
Hmm.
What, a year ago? Was that right?
Yeah.
Was it
Yeah.
last year? I don't
It,
even
w-
remember anymore.
it was last year, about 11 months ago.
That's right. And I'm addled because we're putting it together again for 2027 right now. And going back to St. Michael's Mount. So it's twinned with St. Michael's Mount. I believe it's twinned, officially twinned. I don't know, but the Mont Saint Michel came about first in the 8th century, I think, and then St. Michael's Mount came along later in the UK. And have you been to Mont Saint Michel before?
Seen it from a distance. We took the children to Normandy. It was the only European trip that we took our kids on, and
Oh,
we did London, Paris, Normandy, Madrid. Those were our 4 hits. And Normandy, of course, was
if it's Tuesday, it's Belgium.
it was a nice long trip. We had it several days in each, but we had tour of those beaches that my son and my husband are very, very interested in World War II, and everybody in my family, both of those kids grew up to be history majors in college. Even though my son had a Bachelor of Science in history, I don't get it, but that's what happens when you go to the Naval Academy, I guess. So,
Yeah.
a lo-
I've got a Bachelor of Science in Archaeology. It can happen.
wow, it can happen. So, it is something that we saw from a distance and we decided not to because didn't fit us tidally, uh, which is actually a thing, right? You have to time it right.
Right, you have to wait for the tide to go down, and then you walk across the causeway. Same with St. Michael's Mount, and we're not going to, garden on Mont Saint Michel like we did at St. Michael's. St. Michael's has an incredible garden, privately owned, there, and there are little gardens there at Mont Saint Michel, but there's just so much there. There's a little village that you're walking through as you're going up to the abbey. This is fully the cultural part of horticultural. But we are going to go and see some incredible gardens that inspired the Impressionists. We're going to go see what Versailles should have or would have looked like at Champ de Bataille, which is, I think, is a very exciting garden. It's a billionaire is shoving billions into it.
Okay, can't wait to see that.
And it is the new Versailles in my mind. We're going to Giverny, and most people that's Monet's garden, and most people, when they think of French gardens, that's the garden they think of. The lily pond,
The bridge.
the little Japanese bridge, all of that, and so that's probably the most familiar, but there's some pretty cool ones in there. Jardin d'Étretat, which is right on the cliff with those weird baby faces, and Bois de Moutier, which is an Edwin Lutyens, Gertrude Jekyll sort of combination, and there's going to be some great gardens. But our aim in this is not just to make you all feel jealous, listeners. It's to talk about how do we see those gardens, and we all have different personalities when we go to see a garden. And I watch my guests very carefully. These are trips that I do with Andrea Gasper of Inspired Escapes, and we actually met in Normandy. We shared a room together, so it's sort of a reunion trip for us as well. And we watch people and see how they react to gardens and what they want to know. And some people want to know absolutely everything before they go into that garden. They want to know who it was designed by. They want to know what they have to see and what they can't miss. They want to know what the best way to walk around it is. They want to know everything. And other people just want it to wash over them. They don't really care about it. They just want it to wash over them and then maybe find out some information about it later. Where are you in that camp?
I would always wanna know what's a not to miss site. So
Mhm.
if there's something, if I didn't know that there was a beautiful bridge at, Giverny, I would want to know ahead of time. So,
You just have to follow the people.
yeah,
Follow the
that's
people to the
just
bridge.
just go there. Tourism in general is something that's, I found there was a new, that poor man who got tossed in the air by a bison when we were out
Yes.
looking at bison. He was actually completely unlucky. He wasn't doing anything wrong. There are people that this is a moniker that my brother-in-law told me, not tourists, not morons, but tourons. Touring is, you're with a crowd and everybody else
Mhm.
wants to see what you wanna see. So I am somebody who would want to get off that bus and split a little bit.
Mhm.
But then again, I want to experience with my friends and, Marianne knows so many plants. I want to tag along behind her in case I don't know something.
Oh, don't pretend you wanna know the names of the plants.
I kind of want to know the names of the plants sometimes. But it doesn't trouble me if I don't know the names of the plants. For me, it's a combination and the experience. But so that's a long-winded way of saying yes to all of it. I want to know some. I don't want to know too much. I definitely want to experience it. I wanna walk quickly enough to get my bearings and then maybe go back to a place. I'm not gonna linger over every flower. Flowers, not so much. Plant combinations, more. Alleys and vistas, much, 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 and of course, architecture, because those are the things you're not gonna really be able to suck in through photographs. You can grow any plant or you can see any plant, so it's not the individual plants for me, although I might wanna know what something is if it's particularly cool. Well, what about you?
Well, I'm big surprise here. Quelle surprise. I am a person who wants to read about the garden beforehand. I wanna know the nooks and crannies. I wanna know the history of the garden. I wanna know who designed it, where its place is in history, and garden movements. But I find that that information only dribbles down about a half inch into my brain. Truly, I'm meaning that I might know the facts and the figures, but until you see a garden, you don't understand a garden. And so it's not until later, after you've seen it, or let me say, until I've seen it later after I've seen it, that I go back and the literature on it makes sense. Oh, right. Yes, of course. I mean, like, it makes sense. I can read about something on a map, but until you've really experienced the garden, it doesn't all make sense. I think the best example of that is Great Dixter for me because I was such a,
Wait,
um
where's the bell?
oh, the bell. Good lord. There we go. And I I I hesitate to use Great Dixter because we use it all the time, but it is actually a really good example because I was such a fan of Christopher Lloyd's writing and read everything that he'd written. I felt like I knew Great Dixter. I had never been there. It wasn't until about, oh gosh, like 20 years after I started reading Christopher Lloyd that I actually went and physically saw Great Dixter. And I remember opening the gate up and sort of feeling like I was in a little bit of a, whoa, whoa, I'm here. And then, oh, so that garden moves into this one, and that's how you get over to the barn garden. And oh, I see. It was, it was sort of realizing, and that was after 20 years of reading about this garden. So if you're just reading a quick blurb about a garden,
It's not gonna
don't
sink in.
feel it's not gonna sink in. It's not gonna sink in until you actually experience it, and I think that being too focused on the map, being too focused behind your camera of, "Ooh, there's a good shot. Ooh, there's something to send home. Ooh, there's an Instagram image," instead of just sort of trying to decide how that or not trying to decide, you don't decide anything. How does the garden wash over you? How does it hit you as you walk through it? I think that's just so important. Where does it hit you?
There's so many ways to do this right, and again, to emphasize, it's all due to personality, how you're gonna be going to
Mhm.
do this. I think there are only 2 ways to really screw it up, and
Okay. What are they?
how about we don't just park ourselves behind our illuminated rectangle every moment? That we see
Yes.
with our eyes, that we turn our head, that we look up and down, and we hear,
Yeah.
and we smell, and we taste, and we touch. Well, probably don't taste unless there's a really good cafe. Sometimes there's carrot cake. Anyway, then the second one would be what my poor mother-in-law used to do, and she was a good gardener and a smart lady, but she just had it in her brain, and I saw a lot of gardens with her very, very, very quickly, that she had to have the map and that okay, this is the white literally, I remember standing with her in Sissinghurst. This is the white garden, so over there is the like, literally, we've arrived at the white garden and think of a
And
connecting
she's
garden, I can't remember, but she just wants to all she wanted to do was check it off, identify, and move on. There was no
it
washing over of anything.
it's sort of like, being on an African safari and going, "Okay, lion, got it. Onto the giraffe, got it, yes.
I
Cape buffalo,
guess.
got it, yes.
But
Big 5."
I wanted to, not slap her around, tiny little person that I loved,
Oh,
but I
God.
just, no, I wished for her, and for me because, I would circle back as best as I could, but I'm like, "Oh, I really wanted to," um, I wish for her that she could be more in the moment, but that was just not her personality. So, is that a crime? Probably not. It would be a crime for me. I really wanna
Mm,
see something, experience, and sit down and smell and visit. And I really as much as I was just bemoaning seeing it with other people, seeing it with people that you respect and like and have a good eye, will be with my girlfriend Betsy, who's an interior designer. Like, she doesn't know a plant in the world, but she can see things, and I wanna pick her brain. And you
yes. Shapes, forms, colors,
exactly.
how they're working together, yeah, or not working together.
Or not. My friend Stephanie, who's a fabulous photographer, I wanna so she might be behind that camera, but I'm gonna pick her brain to see what she's seeing, and I can't wait to see her photographs later also.
Speaking of photographs, there was a wonderful, Substack essay, I'll link to it in the notes, by Anne Wareham's husband, Charles Haw. You remember Charles Haws, right?
Yes, I do.
From the Vedu in Wales, there's a
Mhm.
fabulous garden, and he's talking about seeing gardens from behind the photographer's lens and how you go through them and how you always flatter them, always, no matter what. You're flattering those gardens with your camera, and you're trying to make them look even better than they are, sometimes a lot better than they are. And we need to remember that when we go garden traveling and touring, is that sometimes things are for Instagram. And sometimes those angles are, close-ups. A lot of times those angles are close-ups. And we're looking at the entire picture. And there is nothing as edifying, is that the right word? As instructive as looking at a garden in all of its unvarnished glory. The good parts in front of you and the not so good parts in front of you. And you don't want to focus on those not so good parts, but you should, for your own sanity, absorb them because all of these gardens, they're real.
Yeah, it's not
It's not
Disneyland, things are
Disneyland.
happening.
Yeah.
I do look for back of house if I sense a compost pile down a lane or around a corner, I'm going.
What was that? I sense a compost pile.
I'm going
My
there.
spidey senses. I'm going to the compost pile. I sense one.
I wanna see what they do with their debris and how they
Mhm,
if you see gardeners working in the garden as you're touring it,
mhm,
I'm like, "Oh, this is cool." What exactly are they doing today? And it's not like I don't know. I ran the gardening business, so I know about gardening, and taking care of plants in a professional way, but it's, like, really cool to see what they're doing that day. And, of course, how a garden ties in with a house, if there is a house involved, and usually there is. It is very cool to see what people if you can't get in the house to imagine what rooms are what and to see okay, why did they design it this way? What views did they have? Will we be able to
mhm.
tour some houses?
Yes, we will be touring a couple different chateaux. The thing with French gardens, this is a general thing, but many times they do not, they are often very separate from their gardens,
Oh,
unlike in general. Unlike the English gardens, which are very much sort of all over, like
right.
throw the wisteria on, throw the roses on, throw the ivy on, throw the
On the
parsley
building.
part
Yeah.
yeah, on the building. And a lot of French gardens and the houses that are attached to them tend to be almost very, very separate.
Oh, interesting.
And it's not always that way, but it is a little bit.
Like, if we see chateau, that's great, but will we see maison? I mean, just people's houses? Like how
Just regular yeah. Well, I don't think that they're going to allow us into their maison if it's just a private garden, no.
Okay.
I doubt it. I'm going through my head thinking, "Would he let us in the house? No, I don't think we need to see it." So but the large chateau like Champtopétaille, yes. We're gonna be going in there. We've got a couple others, that we're in the process of adding to the itinerary. Woohoo.
Really, even now at this late stage?
Even now at this late stage, it's always dynamic. Yes, horticultural is very dynamic. It's very exciting.
And the places that we stay have gardens, or at least one I know does.
Oh, yes, they do, very much so, very large grounds. We're staying, let me think for a second. We're staying at Domaine de Pramard, which is about an hour and a half outside of Paris, and it has got about 60 acres of grounds, formal acres and walks. We're also staying at, La Ferme, in, Honfleur,
Does that
and
mean the
that is a
farm?
it does. It's a
Hey, I'm
old,
getting
old
really good at
inn.
this. Thank you,
Yeah.
Duolingo.
Old inn, and it's got a small garden around it, but this was an inn that housed the many of the impressionists, like, Monet. I don't think we put you in Monet's bedroom, but,
Oh, what a
yeah,
disappointment.
yeah, I don't will the trip be ruined? I don't know.
Oh, probably not,
Great.
but I'm forever spoiled by being in, was it Queen Victoria's
Oh, at
suite?
Hotel Ensley, that's right, you
Uh-huh,
had an
uh-huh.
incredible you were in and I think Queen Victoria stayed in that room.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
definitely, because that's I requested, like, that's how I roll.
that was completely by accident. I asked to put you in the servants' quarters, but unfortunately, they switched Andrea and I with you.
Hmm,
So you
hmm.
ended up, yeah, princess, so anyway, we're gonna also be at Chateau d'Audriot, which also has extensive grounds, and we want to if we're in the city, we wanna be in the city so you can just jump out and have fun and go and do things, but if we're in the country, we want to be able to have gardens that you can walk through and enjoy and just relax. That's the point of it.
People should know that If you wanna find out more about horticultural, you should go to Marianne's website, which is mariannewilburn.com, and she has a link.
It's actually horticultural.com. It's got its own website now, but you can go through
Oh.
through my website. I mean, this just sounds like a shameless plug for our trips, but, we really do want to talk about the best ways to see a garden because I think people get anxious about it. I see that, like, I wanna do this the right way. There's no right way.
Yeah, no, just
Let yourself enjoy a garden. For instance, we had one of our guests this last trip where we went into the southeast of England, who she's not really a foodie, and we were going to be going to Gravetime Manor.
oh my god, I wanna live there.
I know it's an incredible garden, incredible lunch, but she's not really a foodie. And we'd seen a lot of incredible gardens at that point, and she said, "You know what? I really just wanna stay back at the hotel, and I just wanna go hike. Wanna go along the fen because we were right along the river, and it's just beautiful, beautiful walking." And I was like, "Good for you." I mean, I couldn't possibly because I have such FOMO with things. "Oh gosh, I'm not going. I need to go." FOMO is fear of missing out, folks, if you don't know that
I can't believe you
acronym.
just explained that.
Well, because I said it the other day to somebody, because I was going to PPA because of FOMO, and they went, "What's FOMO?" I'm like,
Oh,
"You don't know what FOMO is? Oh my god, I live my life by FOMO."
that's amazing.
Yeah. When I was a little girl, I remember being, like 6 years old listening to the adults talking at night, if my parents had a dinner party and I'd run downstairs really quick and because I had to pee, and then I'd pee really fast, and then I'd run back up because I didn't wanna miss anything. There we go. TMI, which means too much information. Look at all the
You
acronyms
are
you're learning.
so groovy.
So
Oh,
groovy, so
I'm
young,
cutting edge. Mhm.
so cutting edge. But anyway, I was so proud is the wrong word, but I was just like, "Wow, I'm in awe of that," because you're saying, "No, that's not the experience I wanna have. I wanna do something different today, and I'm gonna do it, and it's okay." That's what you wanna do when you walk into a garden. What do you want to see from the garden? Doesn't have to be what other people think you want to see, you know?
No,
It
and
may be
and
a little
sometimes
corner.
it might be a little corner. It might be, Mary Bacon and I remember we got to one, and I can't remember which one it was, but our friend she's been on a couple of these, and she and I are big into the exercise, and Marianne is
Right.
too, but she's got a different job.
That's right.
She's gotta
I'm
stay with them.
shepherding.
She's
That's
shepherding.
right.
So Bake and I are like, "Hey, look at this. We could do this walk and be back in an hour. Let's go." Boom. And we just stretch it out and go for it. And so are we staring at gardens and vistas and understanding the landscape architecture? No. In this case, we're burning some calories because that's what we feel like we need to do, and that's what's gonna make us happy in that moment. It's all good.
One of the things that I think, people should always do if, they're taking photos in a garden is they should always take a photo at the entrance of the garden that they're in, the
Oh, to remind
sign,
them of exactly
to
where they are.
remind they will think, "I will remember, I'll look at the itinerary, it'll all be clear," and it won't be, because we take 2,000 photos on a trip, and you think, "Well, wait a minute, was that" because we do our trips so regionally,
Mhm.
it's not as if you're going to a desert garden and then you're somewhere down in a lush valley and so gardens might run together a little bit in your head.
Yep.
So it's really, really important to mark it with that marking photo before you even get off the bus. So, snap it from the bus so you know what you're doing.
I have a question for you. Do you keep the map, brochure, any sort of thing? Oh, yeah, you do.
Oh
And
yeah.
they're behind you in that dusty bookshelf.
The dusty bookshelf. I beg your pardon. Don't think I like your tone. No, but they're in a very attractive I can see it from here. They're in a very attractive, large, box, and then they're in Ziploc bags that say Southeast UK, Normandy,
Well, now this all makes sense
Southwest.
because of this is your business, okay?
Yeah.
If you
Mhm.
were just a regular girl going on a regular garden tour, would you keep that
Yeah.
thing?
Oh, that's so difficult. And you're asking the wrong person because I have a big box tote of memorabilia. I have the very first plane boarding pass, Pan Am, and when I was that 18-year-old that left. Now I don't have everything. I don't want you to think I'm a hoarder. Jonathan, it's okay. Jonathan
Is
Bykowski
it
is like,
is it okay, Jonathan? I'm not
yeah.
sure it's okay. My blood pressure just went up a titch.
So I do, I do like memorabilia. And when it comes to gardens, it depends. I don't tend to keep all the brochures from everywhere. If I feel like I could use it, if it could be useful to me later, I do. Garden maps are usually useful to me later.
Why? I mean, so this is divorce yourself from running
Right.
a tour.
Well, I had to divorce myself from what I do. I'm a garden writer. So if I'm writing about a garden or I'm thinking about a garden, it's very helpful to remember how that garden worked together. And wait a minute,
Right.
what was the name of that specific part of the garden? Was it the barn garden or the sunken garden? Was it the high garden or was it the white garden? Was it
Gotcha.
Delos or was it Lesbos? It's really important. That would have been good. You know what? Vita Sackville-West should have had a Lesbos, actually, in her garden.
A
I don't know
lesbian
why they
garden.
named it Delos. Poor Virginia Woolf. She felt so lost.
Oh,
Okay,
unrequited love.
so now I've got a question for you.
Mhm.
When you go to a garden, are you looking for plant combinations? Are you looking for interesting bits of inspiration for your own garden? Or are you just divorcing that completely and saying, I'm on vacation, I'm just enjoying beautiful things?
No, I'm absolutely looking, and I remember distinctly being in a garden in was it Wales? No, it was one of the early garden tours that I did. Most of my garden travel has been, thank you, mother-in-law, who I love, who wanted the map, and we hurried through, but still, she said, "Come on, let's go," and she took her 3 daughters-in-law, and off we went, the 4 of us, to many wonderful places. Um, and I remember, like, it struck me the first time I don't even know what garden I'm in, but I'm like, "Oh, I get it. You do the low things and they marry into these beautiful shrubs and then the really high things, and
Ah.
there's no separation, and there have been some moments of inspiration that I would not have gotten had I not been really looking on a tour. So,
Mhm.
um, but that is not my goal, especially at this stage when I'm in the confines of the bowling alley tiny garden. There isn't that much else I can do.
Mhm.
However, I love looking and I love ideas. So there's no way I'm not looking at plant combinations and thinking about inspiration for my garden. But because I've moved away from a big garden where I could institute grand things that
Right.
inspired me, that part of it is far less. Still love looking.
Well, I am in a big garden and I just bring them home and go, oh, I wish I could do that. I can't. There's no way. I've got the space, ain't got the time, ain't got the
Yeah,
staff. So, but the little plant combinations are what I'm always looking
those are
for.
cool.
What's working with what? That's super important. And listeners, we're talking internationally right now, like the two snobby idiots we are, but this is domestic garden touring too. If
Oh,
you are not
neighborhood
touring
neighborhood
the
garden touring.
gardens in your area in the spring and the fall, whenever they're doing garden tours, you are missing out. You are missing out from inspiration. You're missing out from good plant combinations that could work for you in your garden right where you are. You're missing out from maybe making a few friends and other people who like what you like
Mhm.
and enjoy doing what you're doing. And maybe if your garden is starting to look pretty good, you're missing out from being on a tour yourself.
The Garden Conservancy has these open days that you can get in touch with. I think we should link to that in the show notes, and I don't know if that's more than East Coast, but that is a fabulous opportunity to see some really good private gardens. And then, our Commonwealth, Virginia, has something called Historic Garden Week, and that is a whole week long where so many gardens are open that you literally physically cannot see them all, but you can see a lot of them and just tour people's gardens. And even if you walk into a garden that's not to your taste, then what have you learned? Well, you've learned that's not to your taste, and that you would do it differently. There's so much learning to do, and it's just the beauty of the plants that they've chosen, the individual personalities that might come through, and
Mhm.
then also the care that they've taken. You can see, oh, look how they made this stand out, and they pruned around this, so we'd be sure to see that. And I just feel like it's all very, very fun and inspiring.
Coral sunset peony, was added to the master list in my world
Yeah.
because of Virginia Garden Week with you, seeing it everywhere, seeing it in bouquets, going, "Why hasn't this been in my life before?" And it wouldn't have been had I not come down to that. And they don't have to be historic gardens, right, to be on
No.
Virginia Historic.
No,
No,
my
it's
my
just
garden my garden was on the tour, and so any garden at all can be
infamous
on
for
it.
different reasons. Yes.
Ah, yes, exactly. No, it's, sometimes they do grand historic houses that actually don't have much of a garden, and sometimes people wanna see that. A lot of times they do little neighborhood gardens. They're the brochures and the literature that the Garden Club of Virginia put out are, detailed, so you can do
Mhm.
your research ahead to find out what you want. Caitlin's giant ajuga, which I bumped into, love that plant, right? I bumped into on a garden tour down in when I was speaking to the Brunswick, Garden Club down in Wilmington, North Carolina, with my friend Liz Folson. I You had talked about that on the show, and I saw it, and actually it was labeled wrong. I'm like, "Well, that's not very impressive, not very big."
Mhm.
Anyway, she did have it in another place in the garden. I got to see it, I loved it. I begged Marianne for a piece of it, and then I saw it on sale about a week ago, and I'm like, "I'm not waiting for Marianne, I'm getting some of that stuff myself."
Did
So,
I not?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't send it to you. Yes.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I want half the plants in your garden, and I shouldn't probably get any of them.
I'm going to send you a photo of that bad boy around the pond right now because it slaps me in the face every single time I see it. And because it's come down over the rocks and it's dipped its toes into the pond,
Caitlin's giant?
and it's the lushest, most beautiful because it's just like, "Oh my god, there's endless water here, but we're still terrestrial. But there's water and we're terrestrial." It's just loving that. It's
Oh,
loving that.
cool.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
very
very,
cool.
very cool plant. We digress. We
We do.
digress. The other thing that you can see from other people's gardens, whether they're here, there, or everywhere, is the angles and the vistas that they have utilized to make their gardens look bigger, to borrow a view, to accentuate and enhance what's already there. Can you think of a garden that does that that you can think of in your head that like, oh, we use the view.
Yeah. Actually, I was flipping through the photographs from the garden house, which was on our trip to Cornwall last year.
Yeah.
And that was not a very large garden, but you could walk around in that garden, and I wanted to stretch my legs. So I'm up in a far corner of it. I would say, where we parked, and you sort of went down to the right to actually be in the garden, right? And now I've circled up, and I'm up to the left. And they have pruned the trees and shrubs so that you could borrow the view going into a pasture going down into a valley and up another hill in the distance. And they've done it on purpose. And you're just going to pause on this walk and say, I, I don't even know if these people own this property, but look at that because it is gorgeous.
Sure looks like they do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
W The garden that we're about to see actually is Jardin d'Étretat, which is the one with the little baby faces. Very,
I,
very interesting
so I,
garden.
I didn't stop you before, but I'm not quite sure what you mean by baby faces.
Oh, okay, this is a very avant-garde garden, very modern garden. There are these very close clipped hedges, which I believe are box. Not positive, but I believe that they're box, and they're clipped into these undulating rivers, and nestled into these rivers are these massive ceramic faces looking at the sky, except for they're not looking. All of their eyes are closed, but they're making different expressions with their lips, like surprise or like, and they look like babies to me. They look like baby faces
How big are
making,
they?
they're very large. They're probably about 3 feet in diameter, maybe a little bit bigger, and they're blue.
And
and they're
they're what color blue? Like, give me a navy blue or a
like a
sky blue?
navy no, like a navy blue, or they may in my mind, they're blue, but I always go back and forth with a friend who goes, "That's black," and I say, "That's blue." So they're somewhere between in that space.
How many of them are there?
Oh gosh, I think there's at least 15?
It sounds like the stuff of nightmares, I gotta tell you.
Well, it's really very cool. It's not something I would have ever done in my garden,
Uh-uh.
but it is fascinating. The only thing that was a little off-putting on this garden, I have to say, and we'll see
A
if they're still
little?
doing this. No,
Babies looking at the sky, oh my god.
no, it wasn't the babies. The babies were sorta cool.
Alright.
The only thing that was a little bit weird was when you walked in, they had music going in this garden, and it was very low, and it was very French, but not in the sort of French cafe sort of thing. It was more, "Je t'aime, je t'aime." It's that type of thing. I don't think it was saying je t'aime." It just reminded me of an old Monty Python sketch. Um, and I realized in that moment that as much as I like walking into a garden, or I'm sorry, into a restaurant or into a shop with that sort of 1930s, 40s, 50s music going, I really don't like walking into a garden and having my senses, my
Yeah,
my
yeah.
ears hit. I want the birds, I want the bees, I want the wind,
Gravel crunching, yeah.
I want the gravel crunching. I don't want any assault on my ear that's man-made. That's really strange because, like, I'll walk into a shop and they've got Sydney Bechet going, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll buy everything." You know? It's immediate. But, I'm not like that in a garden, and I remember that being sort of weird. I was brought back to that Monty Python skit. We'll link to that in the notes. So that was the strangest thing about that garden. But the baby faces, I thought, well, I mean, it's a strong move. They're putting these faces in there. It's not like there's faces and then there's gnomes and then there's the gazing balls. It was just those, right? We'll see what
Okay,
you think of them. We'll see what you think of
alright.
them. But my point was, this garden is up perched on a cliff at Etretat. And this is where Monet sat and painted, and they actually have sort of a Monet, form that's made out of willow. I think it's made out of willow, and it's painting up on a
So it's like
outcropping there.
a
Like a
sculpture of
sculpture,
him?
yeah,
Oh.
and it's looking out on Needle Rock and the Alabaster Coast there, and they are so stealing that view. I mean, if you took that garden and you put it into a small sort of suburban space with fences around it, and it was just that, you'd probably go, "Damn it, get those babies out of here." But the fact that it's not about that, it's the views and that and everything makes it work, and that's a learning moment for me too, like, "Oh, don't force people to look at your babies. Look look or your gnomes or your gazing ball. There's gotta be something else there, and definitely don't turn on any music." And I was just at another garden, and they had music going again, and it was music that I like, I really like, and I was like, "Ooh, I still don't like it in the garden. It's
Yeah,
really interesting." Yeah.
yeah. Some people play music when they play golf, sorry to bring up golf again, and,
Oh,
I
no
it
way,
ru it
really?
yeah, they do, and it ruins it for me, and luckily, most people are polite enough to have it so that they only can hear it, only they can hear it, um, but it's no, I'm sorry, I just wanna hear that click on the ball, and I wanna test the wind, and I
Yeah.
wanna the thump of yeah, no music there. Love music, not there. Not in a garden either, I'm with you.
Not everybody wants to experience your music, but even if it's great music, because music is so personal.
I wanna just
Alrighty.
tell you because I need to actually this is gonna be helpful to me. I
Okay.
am drinking this French 75. I'm going to have dinner and crash into my bed. I'm gonna wake up very early tomorrow morning, and I have 2 hours to get my garden ready to leave for weeks. What am I gonna do?
Damn.
I know, it's a lot this is not
Cry? Pray?
I will miss it, especially since a
Make a
groundhog
call?
has moved in. Oh, I've got people watering. I've got a groundhog has moved in, and he thinks that we don't live there when we do. what's he going to do when we actually leave? I'm like, oh, this is
Oh
going to be
my
bad.
God,
I
you've
know
got a groundhog.
I could lose some plants. Anyway, I'm going to whip around. I'll water everything, and I've got people to water while I'm gone. I'm going to deadhead every flower. I'm going to deadhead every
Yeah.
flower so that I come back to some flowers. And I'm not going to worry about weeds. If I see something that's an inch tall, it'll be 9 inches tall when I get back. I don't really care. Um, and I'm just going to make sure that all the pots are in the right place grouped so that the people can see them. Like these ones, full on sun. These ones, shade, and they're under here. And really, there are 10 of them. So make sure that you poke around. What else am I gonna do? I think that's kind of it. What are you gonna do?
Well, it's September. So, well, it's August really, but but we're getting into September. And so I'm going to give up. I've decided.
Capitulation is on the
I
list. We got this.
just going to give up. I think that one of the things that you said is so smart no matter what time of year it is. And that is cut back your plants that are blooming, sacrifice all your flowers now for your flowers later when you get back because it
Yeah.
does not matter. Nobody's going to see them. You want them when you get back. Do that. Cut them way back. I think that's a great idea. If you've got a vegetable garden, that's going to make me a little sad because I do have a very a vegetable garden that's producing like crazy right now. And knowing that a lot of that is going to quote waste, going to my compost pile is hard for me.
Won't Michael come
Yeah.
down and harvest
Mike
it?
will do a certain amount. He's actually been doing a little bit more lately, where he goes down and he's getting arugula for the salads and beans and stuff. So he might do more of that. But it's still more than he's going to process. So I will let friends know that they can come over and harvest what they want. That's one way of doing it if you've got an edible garden that needs harvesting so that it'll keep producing. Because when I get back, I still want things to be producing. And keeping the beans picked is sort of crucial in that. But I do overall, Les, I think I am just going to be giving up. I'm going to be like, okay,
Sayonara 2026.
yeah, this garden, I got a lot of joy out of it this year. I really did. And so
That's good.
whatever is there when I come back is gravy.
So travel, travel, travel. I'm so excited, and you all will hear from us while we're gone. Somehow the magic of recording
It
ahead is
just
going to
keeps
make it.
going.
It just
Jane is such a bit. She is so busy,
She's
bless
so
her heart.
busy.
And
Oh
she, you
no,
know what? She took that flogging we gave her last week very, very well.
she was a good sport.
I must say, she was a good sport.
I've got a really cute comment from Jackie's Abundance Garden from YouTube. So last week we put out our One More Sip, which is barrel aged to the general public. We do One More Sip on Substack. If you want to stay current with that, go to Substack and subscribe. You could get our One More Sip podcast every week, and it's brand new. If you were to do that, but once they hit their 1 year anniversary, they do get put out as a regular video and audio. And so this latest one was about the botanical names in Latin and that sort of thing. So Jackie's Abundance Garden wrote, being exposed to Latin names or plants is one of the reasons that I subscribe to you girls. I figured that if I ever want to learn what plants are, it has to be done by the botanical name. Don't get me wrong, I love the pretty gardening channels, but in retirement, this is one way to keep my mind resilient. I thought that was so cool.
Oh, I'm so excited. Jackie, welcome and thank you. That's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to make it fun. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be hard. Yeah.
No, making it fun with good information. And, at
Yeah.
the end of that podcast where I say, learn them if you want, don't if you don't want to. And you're like, no, wait, we want them to learn them. I'm like, only if they want to. But it is
Yeah.
extremely helpful. Carol Reese on our last episode said, let's see if I can do my Carol Reese accent. I'm going to learn those because if I know that this one's related to that one, if I know something about your people, I know something about you. And I'm like, oh yeah, that is why we learned the Latin botanical names, right?
That's the best comment ever.
I know.
I know some about your people. I know something about you. Oh my God, could that not be more true for plants?
That's true.
Oh, it's in that family. Oh, it's
Yeah.
that genus. Yes,
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
we do this, guys, not just because we have sticks up our posteriors.
Did you know
Okay,
that Coringa shoma palmata is in the hydrangea family? I know.
no,
I
that
know.
is
Okay, but
no,
we can't go down that
really?
garden
Oh,
path.
no,
I'm
we
just
can't. Okay, no,
throwing it
I
out
did
there.
not know that. That's
It's
fascinating.
I know. At Sarah Lee 848 and at MB Penn VA, both approved of the botanical names. And the latter mentioned that Latin is pretty important when you work in the medical world. I'm like, oh, yeah, point taken.
That's true.
Hmm.
That is true. Now, I would like to come over to Substack real quick and share a very funny comment from one of our newest founding mixers who subscribed on Substack, and that is Margaret Colford. And I think I put this in the notes a couple weeks ago, but it just made me laugh, and so I got to do it on air. I've been listening for a bit since Aaron Shannon was on in May, I think, and I listen while gardening and while I'm driving in the car, and I watch while I'm working. I've listened to a lot of the older shows as well, and today I came seeking the rum punch recipe, and there it was, front and center. And I knew that it was a sign from God to support you.
Thank you,
Here we
Margaret.
go.
Thank you, Margaret.
Divinely, divinely
Meanwhile,
inspired
I'm opening a
cocktails.
seltzer because this French 75 is having some impact on
Whoo!
me. Oh my God.
This is flushing my cheeks, I
Oh my
must
goodness.
say.
Let's
So
get
I'm
through the
feeling a little
episode
verklempt.
quickly.
Let's move on to deer fence update and your front yard update. I bet there's nothing going on in your front
Well,
yard
here's
because you're
it's something.
preparing
There's
to
something
leave.
going on in my little pea brain, and here it is. I
Mhm.
am going to submit a new plan, and I am going to put on that plan 1 tree and 3 shrubs, and we'll see if we can get that passed. Meanwhile, this past week, I think I mentioned this on the latest episode. I did edge my garden again, which got me 5 more inches of garden. So
You
it's
have
kind of
got to pray to God they do not listen to this podcast.
no
I mean,
one's
all the
listening to this.
evidence the clipboard police need to throw you in clipboard jail is right here.
It's all good. Anyway, I have a plan to have a plan. Tell me about your deer fence.
Deer fence this week got compromised
No.
because we had one hell of a storm. And I think almost like semi-tornado that came in, took down some very serious trees, and a couple of those fell on the fence. And the fence was so well built, and I know one of our listeners has actually gone with the company that I
Oh,
because they're in my area, and they went and got a fence from this lovely, wonderful Rodney and his great team. And this is not an ad, by the way. We're not. I was not given any special pricing in order to say that. He was just fantastic, fantastic team there. And they put it in so well. I can't even believe that the post didn't snap, but the fence came. It sort of crumbled a little bit, and we had to sit there bending it up and trying to staple it up again. And it's fascinating with that high tensile wire that once that tension is broken, then it's just like it's all wobbly on
oh
the
gosh.
other parts of it. So I don't think I will get that tension back without using some sort of I don't know, but it doesn't matter. It's back up again. But Mike and I were working on it this week before the deer found the place where they could get through.
And did you
There
have
you go.
some damage?
Did we have damage? Oh, damage all over the garden, and this is this is gardening, folks. Last week I was away at PPA. The week before, I had made a concerted effort to do what I call grounds work, which is I am the grounds crew, and I go around with the weed whacker and I weed whack around the base of trees, things that never get touched, but give those what they call cues for care. And I spent a lot of the week dealing with the detail work and at the end of the week, Mike and I were feeling so good. Like, oh, this place looks great. The garden's being sorted and the extra stuff. A weed whack down by the river. All it took was 20 minutes. 20 minutes in Mother Nature. We've got so many branches down, leaves everywhere. It looks like this place is abandoned. 20
Ugh.
minutes. You got to be able to come to terms with that. Otherwise, you're going to go insane.
But did you have any deer damage when the deer fence was damaged?
They didn't find it in
They didn't
time.
find it.
We
Okay.
we we the minute we had that storm, the first thing we did was walk the perimeter to check
Mhm.
and see what we had to deal with, and they didn't find it, thankfully.
Good, good. Hang on, y'all. We're going to talk about 2 great plants for late August.
Each time you say 2 great plants or 3 great plants or whatever it is, I always wanna say, "That tastes great together." Going back to the Reese's commercial of the 1980s.
Damn, I wish I had planted that. This is the section where we talk about things that are looking particularly good this time of year in our gardens. And it just gives you a good idea for what might be missing or what might really make you happy for late August. But mine is wanting. It's lacking. It's underwhelming, but it's still a good
What?
plant. And here's why. So I'll go first. And I have chosen the Ophiopogon nigrescens. Well, wait, what's the third name on that? The Ophiopogon planiscapus nigrescens. It's black mondo grass. And black mondo grass is not an uncommon plant. It's an ornamental grass. It only grows to about 6, 8, 10 inches tall, but it is underwhelming in the garden. But it is such a cool plant. It's a mat forming perennial. It grows in zones 6 through 9. It does have a very understated, incredibly understated pink flower in July and
You're
maybe
really
early
selling
August.
me, Leslie.
I know, I know. So why do I think that you should have this plant? Because how many black plants are there? And it's deep, deep purple foliage on these thin sort of almost looks like what do they call that stuff? Liriope. It almost looks like liriope. It is from Asia. It is not a native plant. Deer don't like it. Bunnies don't like it. And it loves moisture. Although I read on the Missouri Botanical Database that it'll take a drought. So maybe it just loves moisture to look good. I like it because it is an incredibly good contrast with a light green, with a very light green, with almost a yellow plant. Each makes the other shine. So when you think of dark plants, I mean, even purple flowers in a perennial border, they go back in space. They do not come forward. They do not stand out. So this is a background plant, but it's a really cool background plant. And I have undersold it because I think it will over deliver for you. Do you grow it?
I think you've sullied the reputation of "Damn, I wish I'd planted that," honestly.
No, I really love this plant, and if I didn't have it, I'd shop for it, honestly.
Now, to be fair, I haven't killed this plant 3 times, and I haven't killed it once, actually. I've grown it once and then removed it
Oh, you didn't like it.
after being, underwhelmed. It did not mat up in that very vigorous way that even the very small, Ophiopogon,
It's not as
does.
dense as the mini.
It's
No,
not as
that's true.
dense.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now it is sorta cool if you have a goth garden, and I know a lot of people do have goth gardens because they contacted me about the Papaver, macrostomum, black magic poppy.
We're talking to you, Brad.
You talking to you, Brad?
Garden
That's
evolution,
right.
baby.
And a couple others who wanted this, "Oh, it's very cool, it's a black garden." So I could see it there, but man, you're gonna have to do better selling than that for me. I think you know what? I jumped on it when I saw it at a plant swap many, many years ago. That's why I had it because I thought it was cool. And so that part of it, yes. Did it perform?
All right, it performs for me. It has formed a wonderful, I have a very wet garden with heavy clay and it stays moist and it is absolutely wonderful. I thought it was wonderful last year when it was matched with Angelina sedum. Turns out Angelina sedum doesn't really like all that moisture that Ophiopogon loves with the heavy clay
Yeah.
in them. Yeah, so that didn't last. But with a light green coleus, like a really big leaf coleus that would go next to that, it's such an interesting foil. So on its own, meh. With something else, you're like, "Well, what is that?" Like, that is a black plant. I think it's super cool.
All right. I want to see your photos of your clump and I will make up my mind and the jury will speak after that.
Okay.
Okay.
Please,
Fair
please,
enough.
let's lift our game by listening to Mary Ann's plant.
Yes, please, let's. Actually, this week I have something completely different, which is I have an edimental. I have an ornamental edible plant. I went vegetable this week, and I know that you are sort of nah on the vegetables, and we're actually going to have an episode on that
Where we
during
make fun
harvest
of me the
season.
entire time.
Oh, cannot wait! This is going to
Yeah,
be such a great episode.
fabulous.
But this is the Chinese red noodle bean, and I cannot say enough great things about this plant. There are no caveats. The only caveat is that you've got to keep picking it constantly, because if you don't keep picking it, it'll go, it'll fully go to seed and then it won't keep producing. So you just want to keep it producing. I just think of it as the Chinese noodle bean. But for our listeners who are here to edify their minds and keep those brains sharp, it is Vigna. It's not actually what are beans? They're
Yeah, you got
come
me.
on, Marianne.
The marvelous fruit, the more you eat, the more you toot.
No, it's
Oh God, that
Fabiaceae.
French
What?
75 is having its impact on me.
I can't believe I can't bring it into my brain. It doesn't matter. This is Vigna unguiculata. Subspecies Sesquipedalis red noodle. So there you go.
Mouthful.
This is a bean. I wish I'd brought one. I actually have a bunch downstairs on the kitchen counter, but they are easily 24 inches long.
Holy cow.
And they are red. And I have them on a trellis, which is a piece of hog wire or hog fencing. You know, the big panels that are 4
Not
feet
familiar.
by. You're not familiar? You don't have those down in Charlottesville?
Not a country girl.
So this makes a very, very good trellis, folks. If you go down to your southern states or your feed store and you get a piece of 4 by 16 foot welded wire hog fencing, they're panels, then you bend it over. We will put pictures in here. You bend it over and ratchet it to the ground. I have rebar on all 4 sides, and it makes a wonderful, very easy, very cheap trellis for pumpkins, for beans, for peas, I have New Zealand spinach on there, lots of different things. But these beans all hang down like 20, 24 inches on this thing, and they're purple. So they're easy to pick. One of the hardest things when you're picking your Kentucky bowl beans and your bush beans is, where are the beans? You see them and then, oh, wait. And then I missed all those beans. You can't miss these. It's not possible to miss them. And then here's the even better part. When you're cooking them, they don't lose their color like a lot of Kentucky pole beans do that are purple, that lose their color in cooking. And you don't have to top and tail them. I mean, you can top them, but you don't have to tail them and you don't have to string them. And then you just take a 20-inch bean. Now you take it young. You don't let it get old. Nice and young. And then you just chop it into bean-sized pieces, and you're done. They're amazing. I wish that I had known about these when I was with child. Well, no, but when the children had popped out. I wasn't actually with child. The children were extant at that point. I wish that I'd had the beans when the children. Okay, never mind. Wow, this French 75 has been great.
I think we should sign off as soon as possible.
Okay.
All right.
We're doing one more sip after this, right? That could be very bad.
So this could be the night that everybody subscribes. They're going to be like, how does this end up? Oh, God.
Oh, what a train wreck.
We're off to France.
Chinese noodle. Wait, Baker's Creek seed if you want seed. And then once you've got seed, you can keep your own seed.
Okay,
All
we
right,
definitely should sign off. Bye-bye.